Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you guys for coming to another Tuesday Night Live. I'm Kat, the Nurse Flipper. I'm joined by my co-host, Rod, Picking and Punching. And below me is Katy and Vikki. They were just on with us a couple months ago. And Katy corner to me is Miss Theresa Cox, but she has not been on before. So we're excited to have her on with us. Yay! So I'm going to let all these ladies introduce themselves, get your questions in early. And yeah, so here's Katy and Vikki.
How about you go first, Vikki?
Oh, that's a new one. Hi, I'm Vikki. I sell under the name LV Pink Peacock. I live in Las Vegas. I have pink hair. You know, you do the math. I've been selling online since 1998, full-time since 2009, and I'm one of the co-hosts of the Boss Reseller Remix.
And I'm Katy. I have separate businesses. I sell under the name A Boutique for Him. I mainly specialize in men's vintage streetwear, t-shirts, sweatshirts, that kind of stuff, some jackets. I've been selling full-time since the beginning of 2016, and we have a YouTube channel Vikki and I do, just called Katy and Vikki. It's very, very
Original.
unique and original. We just try to help teach other sellers how to be better sellers and just have fun, be a part of the community. And like Vikki said, we do the Boss Reseller Remix with Theresa.
Perfect. Speaking of, here's Theresa.
I'm Theresa. I am Club Red 97. I've been selling on eBay since 95 under Club Red 97 handle since 97, hence the 97. I love it when people think that was the year I was born. I am in Arizona, and I'm one of the co-hosts of the Boss Reseller Remix.
So you guys have all of the Boss Reseller Remix people here. So if you have questions about Boss, tonight is definitely the night to get that in for sure. So let's see. And Rod and I got to go. We went out on the boat on Sunday, went scalloping. Me and my husband and my son and Rod and his wife and her son. So all of us went scalloping and had a fun day on Sunday. So
I was tired. I just got back from FlipCon and then we went on the boat. So it was a good time.
It will wear you out. All the swimming and diving will definitely wear you out.
My wife's butt and backside is all burnt the next day just because when they're scalloping.
It's always the butt.
Yeah.
It's always the butt.
Because I didn't realize when you scallop, you're above the surface the entire time. You dive down. So.
And the reflection of the water on the skin makes it like twice as bad. It's horrible.
Wait, I need to know. I have no idea how you scallop. How does it even work?
So it's only it's like a small part of Florida too. It's like only like 100-mile stretch of Florida coast, 3 months a year. And yeah, you go snorkeling and it's basically an underwater Easter egg hunt. It's really cool. And you look for the scallops, and when you see them, you dive down and grab them and just snorkel around hunting scallops.
So how many did you get?
We got what? Maybe, 30, 40.
Which is not a lot.
Yeah.
You can get 10 gallons, which is like several hundred. We didn't find a ton.
All right.
But, it's so hit or miss, and they won't close it down because it's like all their money in those small towns is just that small season. So they won't shut it down for a year to like let it repopulate. So it's been pretty sparse.
I will say it's weird because like they do look like big clams, and you're on top of the water. You're only going down like 5 feet, 6 feet, and they're all in grass. But I didn't know that they actually move, and so they look like this. They're just moving through and swimming along as you're trying to grab them. So
I'm from Rhode Island, and we don't do scalloping. We do what's called caw hogging. So caw hogs are a type of clam. It's the same thing, shallow water, but you use rakes. You rake them out of the water. I haven't done it in probably 20 years, but I've done that too. It's fun.
So who brings them home? Who cooks them?
We cooked them, actually. Kat was nice enough, since it was her first time, let's take them home. And me and the wife, we took them apart, and then we cooked them up, sauteed them mixed them with a little rice and some other things we had just laying around in the kitchen, and it turned out really well. Super fresh. So
yeah, it's nice when they're fresh.
Yeah.
But I was in Boston last week, and I had full belly clams, which I didn't know was a thing. No, those were good. Now, and Vikki probably knows this, but we also ordered steamers, which I guess is this steamed clams. I did not like those at all.
I love them.
They're real creepy looking too.
Yeah, they're creepy. Yeah. Oh my gosh, they're beyond disgustingly creepy.
And you better pull the foreskin off, as Katy calls it.
That's exactly what they actually. It was nasty. I didn't forget the whole dealing with it. I just didn't like the taste. Very, very fishy. But the fried ones were delicious.
That's the only way I like clams is fried. It's the only way I like them.
Trisha's in the chat. She was there, and she ordered the steamers. Like I said, she loved them. Everybody at the table loved them. Not me.
Or as Trish says, steamas.
Steamas. Yeah, whole fried clam. Miss Linda said, I have a Kirkland large nativity set. A couple of pieces are broken. Should I sell it as is or part it out? And it would be a beast to ship together and would be very expensive. So what would you do if it was missing a few pieces and really big?
I have sold the Kirtland. I have sold the Kirtland nativity. Do you have the original box?
Theresa, you're not following the rules.
Right out the gate.
If you don't follow the rules, it just becomes chaos.
It's like Family Feud. We just need one of those big X's like.
Okay, listen. Here's what I'm going to say. There's a reason I sell clothing. Okay, so whether it's complete or there's pieces that are broken, it all sounds like a nightmare to me. So I'm going to let Vikki answer it for us.
It depends on the Kirkland set. Some of them can go for several $100s as the complete set. And you may want to, do a little bit of comps on that, because if it's an easy break, like if it's just a clean break that you can glue, I would sell it complete and ship it and just do, UPS or FedEx ground shipping on it. Cause they are heavy and they're awful, but they can sell for quite a lot of money. Piecing it out, I wouldn't bother on something as modern as a Kirkland set personally.
Theresa?
I have sold these. I like OG and Z. He knows I'm in charge, which is the biggest joke ever. I have sold these. I love Kirtland nativities because they do sell for hundreds of dollars. I've sold them, but I've always had the original box. That's why I asked. Even if the pieces are broken, include the broken pieces. I still sell them. And the ones that I've sold, I've always just priced them as if they were complete and not broken, and they still sell. So price it high, and if it doesn't sell, then you can mark it down. But I haven't found that. I probably sold 4 or 5 of them. I find them in my neighborhood communities, garage sales, almost every time I go out.
So I would probably just discount it tremendously and just move it, because usually if I have items that are broken or pieces missing, they do sit for a while. They are to find the right buyer to get to pick them up. But yeah, I would just sell as a set. If you piece them out, you're probably sitting on them for a very long time, and it's just going to take up room. So I would just probably discount tremendously where I still make a profit and just move them.
I'm going to disagree with everybody and say I would part it out. Because like you said, 2 of your parts are broken. How many other people have broken pieces? And I don't want to ship the whole big set. I have a nativity set I listed together, but it's only like 10. And how big are the Kirkland sets? I don't know how big they are.
Big. It's like a 3-foot box. If it's the ones I'm thinking of, it's big.
Yeah, someone put 18 by 21 in the chat. So I'm not sure if that's the size of them.
I think I would probably part it out if it was worth it. If it wasn't, I probably would not pick it up. I would leave it. I'm trying to get away from big breakable stuff though, because I'm not wanting to pack all of the giant breakable stuff anymore. Let's see. Miss Diane says, I've been on Whatnot for a while now. Do you think eBay Live is worth a try? And can anyone do lives on eBay? Or is it like Whatnot where you have to apply? And are they a percent of the sale like the reseller platform, like regular listings?
I don't know how I don't know that eBay Live is open to sellers to apply for yet. I think they're still building it, as far as I know. Now, I'm not saying this with any amount of certainty or inside knowledge, but the ones that I've seen, because you'll get those notifications, they feel very much like Home Shopping Network, and it's like the stuff they're showing things, and it's like it looks like you're coming into a live auction, but there's not actually any bidding going on. It's kind of weird. It just seems like it's a bunch of dudes sitting around talking about collector cards, and then you can go into the store part of it and actually buy stuff. I don't know. So personally, I don't get it yet. I mean, I've done sales on Whatnot, and I kind of stopped doing them because they just don't work for me anyway. But I'm not really sure what's going to be happening with the eBay lives or how it's going to work. I'm assuming at some point it'll be a percentage when it does happen, though.
Yeah, I think it's invite only at this point, and it's rolling out with certain categories. It's people that work with eBay closely. Personally, I would not be opposed to doing eBay Live just because you've got a huge built-in audience.
True.
So if I were invited to sell on eBay Live, I sure would be trying it. I have also tried Whatnot, and I know that Kat is very successful on Whatnot. For me, it does not work. It may eventually. So I still think it's a growing platform that has a huge ability to do well, but it doesn't work well for me. I personally do better selling in targeted vintage groups, private sales. You can do live sales in certain groups as well. And it's targeted to a certain buyer audience that actually wants what I sell, which is mostly women's vintage clothing. And there's not a huge market for that on Whatnot for people to just come on in. The guys, the stuff that Katy sells, the t-shirt bros and all that kind of stuff that we talk about, that has a built-in market, just like cards and games and things like that on Whatnot. I don't think the vintage women's clothing market is there yet.
I have a link to apply for eBay Live.
Type something in the chat and I'll give you the moderator so you can give them the link. So type something first and then I'll.
I did it to YouTube. Will it show?
Not until I moderate you. So type something else and then I'll moderate you really quick. I'm watching it.
Sorry. Trying to figure this out.
Oh, I see you.
I have. Okay. I'm on two different accounts.
Now you're moderated, so now you can add it.
Okay, sorry about that.
So Theresa will give you guys the link to apply. There it is. Live interest form.
That's a direct link to apply, and that's what I was looking for. I haven't watched any. I only know Hustlebee that does them. Haven't really chatted, so I have no help except that I had a link.
So I will say, and hope eBay's not listening, they've really dropped the ball when it comes to the live, because Whatnot has really taken over a big portion of the market right now. And eBay really had an advantage because they already had the built-in platform. And do you know how convenient it would be if I went live on eBay and was able just to click items in my store and just move those right over to my live? It'd be a game changer. They would literally crush the marketplace. Right now, you have to be approved. And when they are doing the lives, like someone just posted here, you're getting 7,000 people in the lives because they're approved. They started with a lot of the shoe people, a lot of the card sellers on there, and eBay is promoting and pushing it out there. I've watched a bunch myself, but unfortunately right now is not really open to the public. You have to apply, and then you're able to, if you get approved, you can go through the process on them. But right now Whatnot is pretty much the king of the 800-pound gorilla in the room, as I like to call it. And then you got Poshmark Live, and other platforms are catching up. So I will say, if you guys are interested in doing live, start jumping on all these other platforms, because it does take practice, and you will need practice to be successful at doing it. It doesn't matter what platform you want to sell on. And you probably will lose money at first. We were with Flip the World, where he goes lives in the bins every 4 times a week. And he does $150,000 in sales rate this year. But he said it took him 4 months. He did Whatnot's live multiple times a week for 4 months straight before he made a profit. He took a loss because he was in it for the long haul, and he was building up an audience. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, so I would try it if it was more open. I don't know that I'm going to apply because I just did my first Posh Live this past week. Thanks to List Perfectly getting us expedited approval on that. I did my first Posh Live. I did very well, and I'm doing my next Posh Live this week too. So I'm going to try that. That's almost like me cross-posting to multiple platforms. If I have lives on multiple platforms, if one of them is tanking, the other one's doing good, I'll put more time and effort into that one. So I'm interested to see, but I don't know. I can't do all this stuff. I seem to think I have like 35 hours a day, and I don't, but
Sleep's
You
overrated.
need to apply. You need to apply because not everybody's applying. Not everybody has that link, and then you'll have it. And then you may decide that eBay's better than Posh. But if you
Well, I will say, Theresa, I noticed that it said interest form as opposed to apply. So I think I'm sure, Trish, it's still invite only. It's just you fill out the interest form. They look at you. They look at your store. They look at your probably your social media presence, and then they invite you.
I also think that eBay right now is only buy it now. It's not an auction live platform. So there's a difference between that and whatnot. And,
so is there a person live on eBay though that's talking to you, and then you go into the store of that person and buy the things?
They show items, but I think it's linked to their store, and it's not auction format. It's buy it now.
Yeah. The one I sat through for cards, the guy just was putting up cards on the screen. I think they were from his store, and it was just buy it now, buy it now. But I mean, they had thousands of people and they're watching because eBay does push it out, to everyone when they are doing it. So, I mean, there is a big advantage to that. I mean, just like anything, if you're an early adapter and whatnot, or early adapter to YouTube, or you have, Instagram, Facebook, you have an advantage. So it's well worth, like Theresa said, everyone applying for it.
Yeah, of course, then you have like 25. It's like, because I've clicked on it before when it's shown that there's a live show, and there'll be like 25,000 people in there. And every comment is like, I'll give you $1. I'll give you $1. Run it. It's like so obnoxious.
Yeah, I don't know if I could keep up with that. Miss Linda sent us a super sticker. I'm going to give you a dolphin. And then I saw Miss Susan sent one too. So here is your dolphin, Miss Linda. Dun, 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 dun. Susan likes pillow fight. I know that for a fact. So I'm going to give Miss Susan the pillow fight that she loves. Here you go. All right, let's see what's next. Absolute Fine says, I have a 3-part question. What dreams or goals did you have that helped you achieve becoming full-time reseller? And have you achieved them? And if so, what were they?
Great question.
Oh, geez, this is tough. Well, I mean, as far as like when I became a full-time reseller, I kind of got thrown into it because I had resigned from my previous job to start my own business. And I had 6 months of unemployment to be able to build up to a full-time income, or I'd have to go find another job. And so I kind of like had to hit the ground running. And it took me 8 months. So I had a couple of months that were pretty painful. So, sometimes it's, when you have to accomplish something and you have no other choice, it's a real good motivator for actually getting it done and being successful at it. And so that's how I ended up being a full-time reseller. I don't know. I guess I could probably go on and on about a whole bunch of other things, but I'd say that's probably the first part.
So I was a part-time seller at first, and it was more for hobby money or like vacation funds and things like that. I was in the finance world as a mortgage broker and regional director for many, many years. And when the banking crisis happened in 2008 and 2009, I was like Katy, I didn't have a lot of choice. I could go and do something else, or I could ramp up my part-time business. And at the time I said, well, I already know how to do this. Let's see if I can make some real money doing this. So I was also kind of forced to do that. I had to replace a very, very good full-time income, and it took me quite a while to get there. But I love having the flexibility that we have with the careers that we have. I'm not beholden to anybody. It's not a 9-to-5 job. I don't have to ask anybody to take time off. I can take as much vacation time as I can afford to take. There's all that type of stuff that comes with being a full-time reseller and being a small business owner. That are the benefits. So for me, my goal was to be able to replace my previous income, which I have, and then some, and also be able to have the flexibility to do the things that I really love in addition to loving what I do. This doesn't feel like a job to me, and it hasn't in many, many years. I love what I do. So I think I've achieved those goals. You know, and of course you always have to have goals to be working toward and striving toward, monetary goals, personal goals, whatever. And those change all the time.
Yeah, I was a part-time hobby seller for, I don't know, 15, 16, 17 years, something like that. And then in 2012, I was laid off of my dream job. I worked 30 years in higher ed doing finance and operations. And I was working in the ASU School of Music, my dream job. Loved the people I worked for. And out of the blue, I was laid off because they did a reorg. And I was like, great, let me just go do eBay full time. Well, that was great until February came, and February is my worst month. And I was like, oh, crap, I don't have any savings. And so I had to go back. I went back to ASU 2 more times before I said, I'm done. Had a lifestyle change. I had to sell my big, beautiful dream home if I wanted to do this, because that was expensive to upkeep and I wasn't making the money. So it didn't happen overnight, but, you know, I set goals and I worked hard and I did the things. And over the last 7 years, I have, you know, I took care of my mom. I had freedom and flexibility with that. So my business is kind of really, my numbers are awful, but so what do I have for my next step of goals? My next step, pie in the sky goals is, you know, I'm closing on a house later this month. And my pie in the sky goal is to get back into reselling and pay it off at 5 years. Like, now that is pie in the sky. Even I'm saying it and laugh because that's a hefty goal. But
That's a big one.
But here's the thing. If you don't have a goal, how can you achieve it? I don't care if I fail. If I fail, then, you know, I still have a house and, you know, maybe it takes me 6 years to pay it off, but it's going to be, that's my big goal. And then, but, you know, I'm working on it. So yeah, I mean, like everybody else does. I mean, we all do the same thing. You got to figure it out. But I think the big thing for me is that I had to, and this is, I think, hard for people. I had to give up something at the time was very important to me, which was my dream home that I built and did all this stuff in 2003. So
yeah, sometimes with reselling, you have to take a step backwards before you can take steps forward again. And you know, when I first started out, like, even though I grown up reselling and reselling family and stuff like that, I never planned on being a full-time reseller. You know, I literally started reselling because my hobbies were getting too expensive. Because the more and more stuff I would get, you know, I was like, oh, this is cool, but you know, you always want those rare pieces of stuff that everyone else has, and it was getting real expensive. So I started buying lots of stuff to just start to resell the other ones to pay for my collection. And I was like, oh, I'm getting all this stuff for free. And then I was like, oh, I'm actually good at this. And just, you know, one thing led to another, and, you know, over time. But for me, I guess my main goal was always to be able to, you know, tell my job to stick with the sun don't shine and be able to quit and walk away and control my own destiny. And, you know, that was something I got to do, and did in probably not the best format as I talk about in here. I literally smashed my monitors in my street and filmed it for YouTube because, you know, I was just another number. But at the same point in time, is reselling, you know, going full time is a scary thing. And it, you know, one thing that everyone has in common in this group here and everyone else that comes on this show is, you know, we're all willing to take risks and to follow those dreams. Because if I didn't do that, you know, my goal was to build a new home. Me and my wife built a brand new home, you know, and we did all this stuff like right after I quit my job. And it was definitely a rough time, but at the same point in time is we control our own destiny. And that's the biggest thing. My goal was to control my own destiny, work when I want to work when I don't want to work, spend more time with my family, more time with my friends, and to have the freedom just to do whatever I want, not someone tell me I have to sit behind a desk and you know, just do what they tell me to do. No, I control my own destiny, and I control how much income I make. And that's the biggest thing, because you're never going to become financial free working a 9 to 5, getting someone else rich and, you know, living to their dream. So you have to control your own destiny. And that's the biggest thing with reselling for me. So.
Yeah, so for me, it was achieving the same income I was making as a nurse to be able to quit, which I did. My goal originally was to quit in December of 2022. I quit in February. So I quit 9 months ahead of schedule because I got frustrated. I wasn't necessarily ready to do it, but I was over it and had like a head to head with my manager at work, and came back and gave him 2 weeks notice the next day and said, I'm out of here. And mine is the same thing everybody else has said. My main goal the whole time has been to spend more time with Dalton, and I have been able to do that. I can take him to school, pick him up, any events at school. I don't have to worry about taking time off. You know, like he and I just flew to DC, which was like way beyond any goal that I would have thought. You know, we took off for a week to DC and got to hang out. He started kindergarten this week, and just being able, like going out on the boat with Rod Sunday. And I told Rod, like, we go out on the boat normally during the week because most people are working and there's less people out on the water, you know, and as a reseller, you can do that and make your own schedule and do what you want. So for me, the big thing was achieving that income. And I actually more than doubled my nursing income my first year full time. So I'm super happy with that. And I do want to say, and we say it every show, pivoting and figuring out where it's coming from. Like I pivoted putting my time into Whatnot. We're trying Posh. If that is fruitful, I will probably split the two of them as far as, you know, when I'm not adding a show. Please do not think I am. So I'm taking away a Whatnot and adding a Posh. And just being able to pivot. And if you really want it to work, you can make it work. There are so many different avenues to sell as a reseller that you can make it if you really, really want to. Yep. Let's see. Liz has filming questions. She wants to know, do you use a hidden camera when you are doing your sourcing videos, or do you use your phone? And what software do you use to import your videos to your computer?
So for our show, I'm the one that does all the filming and all the tech stuff and stuff like that. We've never done the hidden camera things. I don't have a GoPro or anything like that. It probably would be helpful, but right now we do all of our sourcing at the bins, and here in Vegas, you can't film in the bins at all. And even if we had a hidden camera,
They know.
And even if they didn't know, somebody would find it on YouTube and report us. And the last thing we want to do is be kicked out of the bins. So we just use we have an actual camera that we use. Sometimes the phone, those phones do pretty well too. As far as software, I mean, as far as importing the videos to my computer, I have a card that comes out of my camera, and I just stick it into my computer and it pops up automatically and pulls the videos off of there. And then I use I think it's One Shot, I think is what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. There's free software to be able to edit videos and stuff like that. It's really, you just kind of look around. There's a lot of like free or close to free software and online programs that you can use to edit. It just depends on like what you like to use and how simple you want it to be, or how complicated you want it to be.
I don't film. I don't create content. I consume it.
So since she doesn't, I'll answer then. So when I go out, I do wear a GoPro. I do, and I use my phone sometimes. If my battery dies, I don't hide it. I literally have it strapped onto my chest, and I just walk around. And I mean, and I would say majority of the time, people don't even notice it, which is strange, But I would say when people do notice it, they'll ask me about it. I just tell them what I'm doing, and 9 out of 10 times they're cool about it, And then you always got that one person that's like, "Don't put me on camera" and stuff like that. And I'm like, I always have it pointing down. When I try to film, I don't try to film people's faces, unless like some kind of weird interactions going or something like that. And I avoid trying to film any type of children at all. And sometimes children will come up and ask to be on camera if they want to be on the YouTube show. I always ask the parents for permission, stuff like that, because I will say some of the kids absolutely love it, because just like Kat will tell you, that's all her son talks about is starting a Minecraft channel. So, but
yes.
I will tell you the biggest piece of advice to anyone who's starting out: don't spend any money on cameras or software, because you don't know if you're going to like it. You don't know how much work that goes involved in it. And it is a ton of work, because you have to source differently. You have to make sure you get stuff in shots. You have to, you might film for 3 or 4 hours before you actually get enough content to make a 15-minute video. And, I spend, sometimes I spent 2.5 hours, 3 hours editing my video today. So, there's a lot that goes into it. So I would say EndShot's good. CapCut's good. If you have an iPhone or Mac products, you can use iMovie, which is super simple to use. And any software you download for free, you can go on YouTube and watch tutorials on how to use it, and just use your phone. and they do that for 3 months. And if you like it after 3 months, then you can always upgrade to other things. Retro Rick, who had over 100,000 subs before he actually switched off his phone. So he filmed on his phone until he hit 100,000 subs. What the hells have 500,000 subs and they film everything on their phone and edit everything on their phone, which I found nuts. But I mean, it can be done. So don't look.
Personality is the most important anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
Not how slick it is or how you edit it. I mean, I do this most simplest editing possible because I really don't think it matters as long it's whether or not people want to watch you.
It's what your audience wants, not what you want. That's what people need to understand.
Yeah, so I use a GoPro and mine's right on my chest too, but I clip it onto a crossbody purse. I don't carry a purse unless I'm filming. I'm not a purse person. The only purse I own is to clip a GoPro to. And I don't even utilize it. It's there for the bag. And so I don't hide it either. I'm like Rod, I'm more filming the stuff, not people. I don't get a ton of people in my shots. I, like Kevin Commonwealth, have edited every single video on my phone. I've never edited a video on the computer to this day. And I used my phone until YouTube paid for the GoPro. So I did buy a GoPro, but it came out of YouTube money. I used my phone until the channel paid for it itself. Same thing with the camera I use for this. I have the GoPro 10 is what I have. I get like every 2 to 3, I get a new one.
Yeah, I'm using a 9 right now, and you just have to make sure if you do use an older model, you have to go online and update the software, because if you don't update the software, you run into some issues with it, but they're all good.
Trish, pocketbooks are your life, my friend. I do not like a pocketbook unless it's holding a GoPro.
Pocketbook. No T.
Pocketbook.
That's how she says it. Pocketbook.
A pocketbook. I don't want a pocketbook. I just wanted
cameras and taking pictures.
To highlight NI87's hanging out with us in Ireland. Thank you. I know the time differences make it all wonky for some people to come hang out with us.
Was that 5 or 6? I think they're 5 or 6 hours ahead of us.
Yeah, so that's like late.
Don't ask me.
I have to look at like the world clock thing. Miss Eliza. I think Eliza was a member.
Theresa can't even figure out what time zone she's in.
She was ready an hour early. She told me, she's like, forget time zones. I'm ready now. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
My time zones, I say it every single day.
Yeah, I'm not a giant fan of the time zone switch myself. I'm like, I have to count. I've started putting Pacific and Eastern on a lot of my stuff because I don't have that many Central people. I feel like my people are mostly Eastern and Pacific. So if I put the 2, Central, you're in the middle of the 2 and meet in the middle.
That's because Central people can't figure out what time it is.
All right, let me give Miss Eliza, I think, was a member and rejoined, but I'm still going to give her the member one. Here you go. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome to the flipping family.
Yay. Sitting Kitty. Wait a minute. Where'd you go, Sitting Kitty? Sitting Kitty said, what is promoted listing standard on eBay? Percentage or standard fee? And is it worth it for a new reseller with only one sale under her belt?
I mean, I think the first question would be like, how many listings do you actually have? The reality is eBay is like, I have love and I have hate for it. I have love for it because it's the old school OG platform and it has the largest audience of any other platform out there. You're just not going to sell, all things equal listings on multiple platforms. You're always going to sell more on eBay. But it really is pay to play. And unfortunately, if you're not using promoted listings, you're not going to have as many sales. Now, if you only have 10 listings, I mean, I don't know how many things you have listed, then I wouldn't really be worrying about it too much right now. I'd be more concerned about building up your inventory. But they have a pay per click thing that I don't use.
I don't think it's worth it at her stage. She's saying that she can get up to about 300 listings. I think if you want to promote at 1 to 2%, that would be great. Yeah. I wouldn't go. I think it's 2% is the minimum now. I wouldn't get into standard. I wouldn't get into the the dynamic listing rate. I wouldn't do anything of that nature. You're still trying to build your inventory. And if you have competitive listings and competitive pricing and things that people actually want, promoting at 2% just to have yourself be seen is great. Anything more than that, you're throwing money away and you're not at the level where you need to be doing that.
No.
That's my opinion.
No, but I will say overall to all sellers out there, if you're on eBay, you should be using promoted listings, not because I think they're great, but because they are necessary.
Yeah, I use promoted listings, the original. I have everything in my store at 3%. I've been a fan from day one because you only pay if someone clicks through the promoted listing to buy your item. So even though I have it on every single one of my listings, and I have right now, I just have a flat 3%. I changed that up in Q4. It's only about 30% of my sales are through promoted listings. So I'm a big fan. I don't promote on any other platforms, but because eBay makes it so that you only pay if they click on a promotion, that's worth it to me. I don't like the pay-per-click thing.
Yeah, so I always like to use this analogy. If you owned a brick and mortar store, would you promote your store to get people to come into it? I mean, would you advertise your store? Well, why wouldn't you advertise your online store then? So, the promoted listings, I would say at least do a minimum of 2%. Unless it's an item that you're the only one who has on eBay, then you're just giving away money. You don't really have to promote that. But I promote almost 95% of my listings are promoted. I do not do dynamic because that's where it fluctuates with the market. You can cap that. But if the standard would just be enough. But I mean, like I said before, you have to pay to play. And eBay actually has one of the lowest fees compared to all the other platforms because like Poshmark and all the other platforms are charging you about 20% in fees. So in that ballpark where eBay is usually around 12 or 13%. So even adding the extra 2-3% in there, you're still going to be, below those other averages. So I always say, yes, if everyone else is doing it, it's, I know some people don't, but I mean, it's only going to help you, especially being a new seller, because you're going to have very low feedback and that promotion is going to help you out.
Yeah, so I just had somebody I helped set up her store, and I actually advise against it, like Katy and Vikki said, because she's brand new. She's got 20-something listings now, and what we did was put her most popular items up. So I taught her how to do sell-through rate, and those most popular items are what we're listing. So they're going to sell anyways. So if you check your sell-through rate and are listing 50% or more sell-through, like she had a sale the first 3 days her store was open because we really checked to get that feedback built up as a new seller. And I would say maybe like once you're over 100, 150, you could selectively promote. I know jewelry is a category that I probably wouldn't sell anything if I wasn't promoting because of the competition from overseas. It's just so saturated with jewelry that on jewelry, I promote at 12%, and that's probably not even enough. I'm not going to lie. Like, it is so saturated in the jewelry category, which is why I love selling the jewelry on Whatnot. But yeah, I would concentrate on listing high sell-through items first. And then once you get, over 100 and feel comfortable, then you could start selectively. I promote everything because I'm OCD and don't like to see the button. You have X amount of listings to promote. But, so it looks like 3% is pretty popular. Theresa said she's at it. Erin is at it as well. So because the minimum now is 2, so you're going a little bit above the minimum.
I do 8%, but like Sarah said in the chat, that I sell primarily women's clothing, mostly women's vintage clothing. Technically, I don't have a ton of competition because the probability of finding the exact same item is very slim. However, because there's so much in the women's clothing category in general, I promote heavily at 8% because it's a very saturated market. I do dynamic, but I cap at 8, which means that, if it sells, it's going to be at 8% because women's clothing category dynamic is really high.
No.
I do dynamic, but cap at 12.
See, now both these sellers, though, here's a disclaimer for everyone, just so you guys just don't jump in and do the same thing everyone they're doing is, they're buying at 10 cents on the dollar. They're buying at a very low buy cost. So they have the flexibility to go these higher percentages. So don't think a lot of you new sellers out there that you need to do what they're doing, put a high percentage on there, but because you make your money on the buy, not the sell. So if you have that flexibility, you can actually out promote the market to get an edge on there too.
It does depend on your profit margin, like Rod said, definitely. If you're operating with very tight profit margins, you're not going to want to do 8 or 12%.
Right.
You know, I'm buying everything for $2 to $3 and my average selling price is 60. I have room.
Yeah, and I buy in lots typically at $1 a piece on over half of my items. So I have room to do it as well. Scott's coming in with a difficult question. He has a Chinese scroll that he believes is from the late 18th century. What is the best way to get it evaluated?
So I'm going to go ahead and say that's not in my wheelhouse. I'm pretty sure it's probably not in anyone's wheelhouse here, but I would say if I happen to have something like that fall into my lap, I probably, do some Googling, of course, but I might look into like some local universities, see if there's a program. Like, I don't know. I don't remember where Scott is exactly, but
I think he's in Texas.
He's in Texas.
But see if there's like a local university where there might be somebody, because I would assume if there was somebody who actually had some expertise on that, they would think it was really cool to get to look at it and talk to you about it. So otherwise, I don't know. Is there a reel for Chinese scrolls?
No, but I did sell. I started out as an antiques and collectibles seller and dealer for many, many years. I would definitely say, like Katy said, find a university, find something that's a university that has a division or a department with Asian studies or Asian artifacts, and see if there is something like that. But secondary to that, I would actually hit up some of the more famous auction houses, Sotheby's, Christie's, that type of thing. A lot of them will do authentication and things like that and give you a valuation, because really, what do you have if you don't have anything really invested in it? You need to find out what it is, because if it's just a replica and it could be worthless, or it could be something that's worth $100,000. If you don't know, you don't know. And that's not something I would know either. I think that would be.
Well, he says he's near Baylor University, so it sounds like he might have some options there.
I don't got anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, Theresa, what do you do with your Chinese scrolls?
Your antique Chinese scrolls from the 18th century. What do you do with them?
She took a couple of my answers there. Yeah, I would reach out to local universities. That's one. Also, museums. If you reach out to a couple of museums, they will have people there that specialize in those old artifacts, and they will be able to help you at least point in the right direction. I've actually worked with a couple of major auction houses before, and what I would recommend doing is actually, if you go to their websites, like she named off a bunch, you can also go to like Heritage, Sotheby's, Christie's. I would search online for, who would, other auction houses that might be involved in that are national and internet. Domestically and international. And what they'll require you to do is send over pictures, send over information to them. And then if they are interested, they will reach out to you. They will be able to authenticate it. They will be able to put you in the right direction, because a lot of those auction houses do have people on staff that specialize in those categories, because they have a reputation themselves, and they will have to authenticate everything that comes through there. Also, too, the best thing about those auction houses is when you do send it, you actually send it to them, and they will handle all the shipping. They'll handle everything for you. That's why they do charge a buyer a 20% buyer premium. So people that in the chat here don't know what that means is if you buy an item for $10,000, you're paying the auction house an extra $2,000 for a buyer premium. So you're actually paying $12,000 for an item that you spend $10,000 on. Also, too, Scott, if you do go that route, reach out to me, because depending on your item, you can actually, a lot of people don't know this, when you're dealing with the major auction houses, you can actually negotiate your fees with them. So if you have an item that's $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, sometimes they will even pay you a percentage of the buyer premium, waive the fees for you. Like, for example, when I had a really rare NES game at a Castlevania Steel game, is their golden auction house was willing to waive all my fees for me, and they were willing just to take the buyer premium. So I had no selling fees. I had nothing involved if I went through them to consign it. But when you're dealing with higher end items, they're willing to kick you back an additional 5%. So you can actually get $105 a sale price on an item if it is a big time item, because they want that item, because one is it gives them publicity for their auction house too. Also too, they know that they have a whole list of buyers that may be interested already. So they know it's going to be an easy sell and big money on those.
Yeah. So I saw a couple people put in the chat, I would reach out to George the Antique Nomad because we are good friends. Scott, I think you could probably reach out to George, send him some photos, and he possibly might be able to evaluate it, or he'll be able to tell you exactly where to go because he's a certified antiques appraiser. I wanted to put this up too because I think this kind of relates. Same thing with the painting. Everything we all just said about the scroll applies to that painting.
Yep.
I had a violin I bought that looked just like one that sold. It was like the equivalent of Sotheby's, but for musical instruments. I don't remember the name now. Looked like a $50,000 violin. I sent them photos and they said, no, sorry, the value isn't enough for us to auction it. And that right there told me I did not have a $50,000 violin. And that was just by emailing them photos to see if it was something they would accept. And and then I just put it on eBay on auction because I didn't have much into it. For the painting, everything everybody just said, I think would apply, especially like museums and things like that, or reach out to an antiques appraiser like George. And if he can't help you, I think he definitely can at least point you in the right direction. Let's see. Miss Linda wants to know if we have any special tips or recipes for removing spot stains or yellowing from clothes. And she wants Vikki to do a video on it.
You know, the video would just be Vikki handing the things to me.
It depends on what it is. I'm gonna say that Katy and I both are very much into a straight bleach bath of stuff, and I do not do that with most of my vintage things. Let me be clear. I'm going to do that with cotton and polyester and cotton blend. And yes, I know bleach is horrific and it does eat away the fibers over time. But the reality is, if it doesn't bleach the stains out, it's worthless and not worth selling. So you've got to weigh those two things. However, Fell's naphtha, I will use that occasionally. I use Grandma's Special Secret or Grandma's Secret. And then I also will I use like the equivalent of OxyClean, Dawn dish detergent, just rubbed in with a toothbrush for any type of grease stain. All that kind of stuff. I mean, I just soaked a couple of vintage things earlier today in the bathtub with some OxyClean because they were yellow and oxidized. And I wouldn't bleach that type of thing. It was, more fragile fabric, but you just got to play around with it. It depends on what the stain is. Yeah, it depends on what the color of the stain is.
Well, and that's the problem, is that if you don't know what made the stain, you're really still just playing a guessing game. And you might, and then there's the fact that it might have been washed multiple times and really got super set into the fabric. So there's no surefire way to get stains out. So usually for me, it's like if it's a grease stain on something I can't bleach, I usually do, like Vikki said, start with the Dawn dish detergent and really work it into the stain and let it sit for a while before I try to wash it. What I usually do is, I'll just do a regular wash. And then with all of my whites, if they have any marks on them or anything that I want to try and get out, or there's overall yellowing or anything like that, I will treat the stains. I usually use like different sprays that I get from like just the Dollar Tree, and let them sit a little bit. Then I run them through the wash, and then I do a bleach bath. It's a big process, but my bleach bath is basically in the bathtub. Like I'm an old pioneer woman, because I figure it sucks. I hate doing it, but it's the most efficient way to do it. And I can do a lot in one batch.
And we have a front loading washer. And if you have a front loading washing machine, trying to put bleach and
it's
do
impossible.
Bleach, it doesn't work right. It doesn't saturate the clothing enough. You need the agitation.
Yeah. We had a top loader at the last place that we lived, and that was convenient, but it still took multiple loads. So while I hate doing it in a bathtub, it really is even better than having a top loader. And so, that gets out a lot of the stains. In some stuff, it comes out perfectly. And then, of course, I have to wash it again after that bleach bath. So it is quite a process. But I'll buy anything. It doesn't matter if it's stained or gross looking. I'll buy just about anything. And a lot of times, even when the stains don't come out, like I just bought on our show on Sunday, I showed a Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman sweatshirt that I had bought. It was like a gray sweatshirt. It just had like the little embroidery up here, but it had these big grease stains on it. And I'm like, I'll just take a chance. I buy it at the bins. I paid like maybe $2. Washed it, used the Dawn dish detergent, made zero difference. Stains were still there, still went ahead and listed it and sold it within 2 days for $40. So honestly, it's like you make your best effort and then just sell it anyway.
I don't bleach.
Theresa does mostly retail arbitrage, so her stuff's new. There's no stain
my
removal
stuff's
to
all new.
happen.
But I will tell you that I'm getting ready to close on a house, and I have to buy a new washer and dryer. And because my new place is in my wash, I don't even call it's not even a laundry room, it's a closet. I was going to do stackables and do front loading, and I have changed my mind. And one of the reasons is because you can't soak stuff in it. So if I do become a vintage T-shirt seller, what am I going to do with a front loading front loading washing machine?
You're gonna pioneer woman in your bathtub like Katy.
I mean, what would be perfect
with a big stick.
What
stirring it.
I wish we had one of those big laundry sinks. Like that would be perfect. Because the reason I hate doing it in the tub is because it's like I got to be like bent. You know, it's like I can sit next to the tub, but I'm still bending over. It would be nice to have like one of those big laundry sinks. So you should get one of those, Theresa.
I will in the warehouse.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say get the stains out. Just use scissors, cut them out, and you're good to go. So I'm going to pass to the cat because you guys pretty much already covered it, and you guys give some really good answers. So I'll just be repeating what you guys said.
And I don't do any special anything. If it can't go in the washer and be washed, I'm not. I sell it as is. I do buy stain stuff too. I just sell it as is. And I'll tell them like stain removal not attempted. Like this has been washed. I have not attempted to remove the stain and I'm good to go.
So what Kat just said is that she buys profits, not projects, pretty much.
Well, you know what? I know that saying and it said a lot, but for me, because of what I buy, I have a whole process that I do. Yeah. And so, you know, a lot of times the reason projects don't work is because you have to like interrupt your process and it takes you away from what you're supposed to be doing. And it takes a lot of extra time because it's part of my process. It's okay. And like I said, I can do like 50 to 100 white t-shirts, you know, all at the same time. So it's okay, but that definitely is true. You just have to figure out what kind of projects work with your process and which ones derail you.
And I think you did
that's like all the vintage hat sellers too, though, Rod. The vintage hat sellers, they're cleaning all of those, and the shoe sellers like Hustle Bee, they're all, you know, that's just what they do.
But that's what they specialize in too. So I mean, for an everything seller, just buying a one-off stuff is not worth them. But see, a lot of you guys, when you guys are doing it, you guys are batching it. You guys are doing 50 shirts.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
So it's part of the process because it's you're batching it through it, just like you would batch pictures, just like you batch your shipping. You know, you batch your listing. So there's like she said, it's part of a process. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that. It's just, you know, when they say that term, and just to clarify, you know, it is just for those one-offs. So for those everything sellers that are buying a little here, buying there. If you don't specialize in getting stains out, you're better off just passing on and maybe let someone else like you pick it up, because then you don't have to worry about get the headache, you know, spending all the time to get out, you know, get that one stain out when you're doing multiple ones at one time.
Yeah. Sitting Kitty had her first eBay order today, so we just wanted to highlight her. Yay!
Congratulations.
She is officially an eBay reseller now. Miss Mandy, the flippin' Brit, says, I'm doing a weekend trip to Florida, Fort Walton Beach, Destin. I'm going to thrift a couple of hours. So for you guys in the chat too, if you know any in the area, she wants to know if there are any good ones, and she prefers not Goodwills. I don't know if you guys have been to that area of Florida or not.
Well, so my, I've only been to Florida once. And my only experience is I found some really good stuff in Casey, the Rockstar Flipper's garage and his storage unit. I made a lot of money shopping off the floor of his garage. That's all. That's my only experience.
Same.
I got nothing.
And I got nothing either, even though I'm in Florida, because that's in the Panhandle, and I do not go to the Panhandle very often. I will tell you, when I go to South Florida, I will typically just put in thrift store, and I like to go to like the church thrift stores and the small mom and pops, and I just pull it up on Google Maps, and I primarily look for the church thrift stores first. Those are my number ones. Rod, have you been in the Panhandle in that area, Fort Walton Beach, Destin?
No. I was up there. I wrestled up there, but I never went like thrifting or anything like that. So
I do what Kat does when we go
like
somewhere.
6 hours.
Yeah,
we're like 6 hours from there. Florida is a long, narrow state, so like across it is not far, but to the Panhandle is actually probably 8 hours from you, Rod, or more. It's a ways.
Yeah, it's pretty far. So.
Well, this is not good news. Cindy Thrift Chick said she lives near there and the thrifting sucks. That's probably not what you wanted to hear.
I mean, I guess it depends on what you're thrifting for, but
It really does.
I mean, you know, somebody would say that about the kind of things that I buy. So,
I hate the thrift stores now here in Vegas, and there's other sellers, friends of ours, who do very well going to the thrift stores. So
It just depends on what you're looking for.
Also,
For
too,
sure.
though, one thing I will say is from traveling a lot, and because when I used to go to wrestling shows, I used to hit like thrift stores all over the place, and everywhere you go, what you buy and sells gonna be completely different. So especially like in the Tampa Bay, Florida area, like there's certain things you're never gonna find here, you know. But if I go to other places, I'll find it all over the place. So it just depends on what you're looking for, too.
just put in thrift store near me wherever you are,
Yes.
and that's where you start. That's what I've always done. And we travel a lot, and that's what we do.
Yeah, that's what I always do. I'll just be driving and put it in near me and look for those. Like I said, I look for the mom and pops, and the church thrift stores are typically the best here in Florida. All right, guys, I'm going to give away some stuff. I'm going to give away some stuff real quick.
Do it.
So let's do it. All right. Let's do hashtag listing party for a list perfectly listing party hat. This is what you're entering for. Hashtag listing party. Listing party. It matches Rod's. You will be Rod's twin and have the hat. Yeah, that exact one. It's brand new. I have not worn it except to put it and act like I was going to match Rod, and I will ship it out to you if you would like this hat. Yes, Ken is here. Hustlebee is in the house. Where'd he go? I lost him. All the hashtag listing parties.
I know.
He searched for. Ken looks for the best desserts.
Ken,
Is
you are
what
my
you-
kind of people.
Ken is awesome. He's going to be on next month with us. So
Yes.
Hustlebee, you guys are in for a treat. And the answer to your guys' question earlier about eBay Live, he'll be able to actually talk to you guys about that.
Yeah, Ken
yeah.
has done eBay Lives.
Yeah, and he'll be on
Ken's
with
way
us
cooler
too.
than we are.
That's true. That's true. Ken is
Yeah.
actually hosting our live auction,
Whatnot auction.
our live whatnot auction that will be at the Boss Reseller Remix. This is our second year doing that. We close out the conference with a live charity auction to benefit the Blind Center, which is the venue where we host the remix every year. And he was so excited to buy us our event last year and threw down some money and ratcheted up all the bids. He's like, I'm going to do this next year. So we said, okay.
Give him a
Perfect.
follow too on YouTube because he's just starting on his YouTube and he has like 25,000 followers on like IG and stuff like that. But give him a follow, everybody. So let's get him up there and so he can build it because he's a really cool guy. So I'm excited to have him on.
He's honestly one of the sweetest people ever.
He's okay.
Like, you can't just not love him and
Did
his
we
wife
both
and
click
meet him.
the same comment?
Yeah, we did.
We think a little too much alike after doing this. We clicked the same things. I clicked it on and he clicked it off or vice versa. We both clicked it at the same time. All right, guys, I'm going to pick a winner for this and then I'm going to give away some poly mailers. So let's pick the winner for this one. Da, 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 da.
Damn.
Lucky Jesus. You're lucky.
I
Lucky
like that
Jesus,
name.
email me. How
That name
perfect
is
is
great.
that?
I feel like if you're Jesus, it's cheating to enter any contests.
Lucky Jesus, there's my email. Let's do Giaro Pack, guys. I'm going to put in... I got to find it again. Let's do hashtag Giaro Pack, and I'll pick two winners. I'm going to show you them here as soon as I get it
I was
started.
going to say, how the heck do you spell Giaro Pack?
Yeah, I have to put it up so everybody can see. There you
Okay.
go. Okay.
That would
100
not have been my
poly
guess.
mailers. 100 Daisy poly mailers. They are 10 by 13. They will be shipped to you for free from Giaro Pack. And if you buy any poly mailers on Giaro Pack, they have regular and padded. You can use code the Nurse Flipper and get 10% off too. I use my own code, because why not? 10%
Right.
off.
Those are cute.
These were the most bought, so I can see like what people are buying. So I told him I wanted these, but next week or the week after, I'm gonna have different stuff because I know the guys might not want the daisies.
You don't
I'll
want to
give
sell
away
out
different GRs.
You don't want to send your t-shirts out in Daisy poly mailers, Katie?
I don't care. I send out all of my stuff. I just started doing Poshmark recently, and I think I've had like 10, 12 sales now. And I ship everything out. I ship everything out in eBay poly mailers with no thank you, no special packaging, no packing slip.
But these are free. They're free, and you can use them for Posh. I put everything in these. I don't care what it is. It goes in the priority mailers because it's
true.
free, and I don't.
You're right. I didn't even think about that.
Poly. Yes,
you're right. I didn't even think about that.
That's a rookie
only
mistake.
ever goes.
You're a genius.
In priority.
Rookie mistake, Katie. You're forgiven.
Listen, I like all
love getting
the regional boxes too that are like discontinued. Poshmark goes in regional boxes too. Free stuff. I don't do thank you or pretty tissue paper, anything either. They all get stuffed in that, and that's it. It's funny because I laugh. We have pink padded polys right now from Giaro for the jewelry on Whatnot, and I sell Harley pins on eBay, and they all go in pink padded polys. I'm like, I'm sure these guys are gonna love this pale pink poly mailer.
I'm about to break the internet with the resellers. I ship everything I sell in eBay, everything, including Amazon.
Oh, I ship eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, like Posh if I can't fit it in a priority box. Then mine all go in eBay too. Etsy goes in eBay boxes. It's all eBay. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, I definitely need to get some of those priority polys. I didn't even think about that. I mean, I don't pay for my eBay ones either, but still.
But you'd rather use them for eBay and not Poshmark.
Yeah. All right, let's pick a winner. 2 winners we're going to pick. Da, 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 da. Dory! Email me, Dory. thenurseflipper@yahoo.com. Let's pick one more winner. Da, 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 da. It was almost Lucky Jesus again.
Did you see the comment about Lucky Jesus? If Lucky Jesus wins, I'm going back to church.
It was almost like he was like 3 away that time. Jesus was 3 away. It was pretty darn close.
That
was good.
It was pretty close.
So, Kat,
All right.
how do you feel about giving away one more thing?
Oh,
I'll give it away. What do you want to give away?
A virtual ticket to the Boss Reseller Remix?
Yeah,
awesome.
let's do it.
We actually
What do you
had
want me to
requested
hashtag it?
in the chat
Boss.
for that.
Hashtag boss.
Hashtag boss.
Yeah, we'll make it easy
All right,
after
guys.
that. I don't even remember what those bags were called.
Here you go. Hashtag boss, guys. They're going to give away a virtual ticket to Boss Reseller Remix.
Yeah, everything's going to be live streamed. So for anyone who gets a virtual ticket, you get to see all of the sessions live. You'll be able to comment and ask questions. So you're going to get to participate about as much as you can without actually being there in person if you can't swing it to actually come to Vegas and hang out with us.
And of course, you can watch it on replay if you happen to have a jobby job and you can't watch it live, or you miss sessions, or you've got things to do. But you can participate live while it's streaming. So
for everyone in the chat that may not know, why don't you guys give them a little breakdown or introduction to what Boss is and what you guys are doing and when the event is, so that they do want to attend. Everyone should already know, but I'm just saying.
I wonder if I can do this. Well, I wonder. Hold on. I don't know how. Let me see. I wanted to let them go. Like, take us away.
No.
Oh.
They just left us here.
I don't know. That might be
now.
trouble. That's it. That's it. Teresa,
All right, you guys are giving away the whole store, whatever it is, whatever you guys want.
Whatever Kat has to give away, we're giving it away. Just kidding. So the Boss Reseller Remix is an annual reseller conference in person here in Las Vegas. This will be our 3rd year. Tickets are on sale now. I'm sure the mods will put the link in the chat. I know that Kat is coming, and Katy and Teresa and I created this event 3 years ago. And we have a bevy of speakers and educators coming to teach you how to level up your business. Some of them are YouTubers, some of them are not. Some people you may have heard of, some people you may not have. It's all about who has something to bring to the table to teach you to how to improve your business, whatever that business is. We talk about all different platforms. It's right here in Las Vegas. It's October 16th through the 19th. And all the details are on the website.
Yeah, Trisha's going. She's going to bring peanut butter whiskey for everybody, just so you know. It's just a really fun event. So, you've got your standard conferences where you get to go and you learn from sessions and everything like that. But what I think makes ours really special is the entire experience and the way we kind of make it work in Vegas. I mean, Vegas is a great city to be in, to really have fun and learn. We all stay downtown.
We do
Las
a little
Vegas.
bit of both.
We all stay downtown Las Vegas on the Fremont, on Fremont Street. And it's seriously, even though it's in October, it does feel like it's summer camp for resellers. We do a meet and greet on the Monday night. We have sessions Tuesday through Thursday, but we also have lots of extracurriculars planned, lots of fun. On Wednesday, we all meet up at Container Park, which is this really cool park in Vegas, and we do kind of a Fremont crawl, we call it. We dress up in thrifted outfits. It's super fun. Thursday night, the last night, we have a huge party that's catered with a DJ, a live band. And that's vintage prom this year, any decade you pick. So we do a lot of fun stuff, and then you also get to learn, but it's also just a huge opportunity to network with other sellers, because the best people to learn from are people who are doing the same kind of stuff you are.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best thing about live events is in-person events is being able to network and connect with your kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
And we have sellers from every level. We have brand new sellers. We have part-time sellers. We have people that are selling millions of dollars a year, and every level in between. You do not have to be a YouTuber or content creator or a multi-$100,000 seller and feel like you're not going to be seen or heard. Everybody's input is valued, and everyone is able to learn and take something away from this conference at every level. I learn every year. So,
yeah. What about you, Theresa?
Well, we have some great sponsors. This is what happens every time we're on a YouTube show. Like Katy and Vikki do it, and then I'm like, I get the scraps. So we have actually sponsors are great. List Perfectly and eBay. List Perfectly is our top sponsor, have supported us from day one. eBay is a big supporter of us. We get to have Adam Ireland, who is the eBay VP and General Manager for the US. That's a big get for us today or this year. And for those of you that are big eBay sellers, even if you're not big eBay sellers, come and talk to the eBay people. Come and talk to. We've got WorthPoint. You want to know more about how to what WorthPoint's all about. You want to see List Perfectly in action. You get some swag. They always have swag. Whatnot. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Whatnot's going to be there. They've been, this will be their second year, sponsoring, and why am I drawing a blank? Whatnot.
my reseller Genie.
My reseller Genie. They were there again. Just saw them at FlipCon. They're great. Seller Ledger is another, company that's a sponsor for us. Check it out on the website. We've got a lot of great sponsors. We love and appreciate getting some new ones. We love and appreciate the ones that are repeat sponsors for us. But I personally, when I go to these events, I love having the chance to talk to the sponsors and get to know more about their product and how, other people use it in the business and stuff. So that's my second favorite thing. My first favorite thing about these in-person events is just networking. And everybody, people used to tell me that, and I didn't understand what I don't get this networking thing. Well, it's sitting down at a table with a bunch of strangers, and then you talk to each other, and then all of a sudden you're just friends. And then you talk about your business, and then they're like, hey, I did some networking in, I don't even remember what event it was, but the end of this week, I'm getting 5 boxes of what I love to sell, which is new athletic wear. That was part of this networking thing because I happened to mention to somebody that I like to sell athletic wear, and they didn't. So I'm getting all their stuff at a really good price. So that's my favorite. Networking to you could be you just want somebody that you want to go, I don't know, sourcing with or in your area, or I don't know. Networking for everybody is different, but that's just kind of like where
The networking's the best part for sure. I did see a question in the chat, and I'll just address that briefly. Is Dom going to be there? Yes, Dominique Collins is going to be our MC again for the 3rd year in a row. Dom used to work for eBay. That was how we met her. And she is an amazing individual that has a great presence as an MC and a host and a motivational speaker. She's a lot of fun.
Okay, you guys are in trouble because Jesus just entered. Okay.
Oh, boy.
All right, here we go. Jesus, thank you for letting us pick on you. Let's see who's going to win.
Kat, someone really wanted to do your bags because they were entering the bags on the boss one too.
Miss Brenda Earl, do you want her to email you guys, Katy and Vikki?
Yeah, please.
What email do you want Miss Brenda to email
Actually,
you?
have her email the boss reseller. It's just boss reseller remix at Gmail.
Got it.
So I will tell you guys, when I was at FlipCon, one of the coolest things they did was when Whatnot was there, because they normally have to vet every single seller. You have to get approved and go through the process. They said that everyone that paid for a ticket was serious about reselling, so they onboarded like 40 or 50 people at the FlipCon. So I'm assuming they'll probably do the same thing at the Boss Remix when they're there. So that was a really cool thing that I didn't know they were doing. So it got a lot of people, a lot of jump on it. So make sure you guys do take advantage when you guys do go to these reselling
They will
events.
be doing that. They did not do it last year, but they will be doing that this year.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
I have no plans of being a Whatnot reseller, but I was sitting there 2 tables over from Kevin, and I'm like, okay, onboard me, because why not?
Yeah, that's like posh, and I just did the live, and I'm going to try it. I really did not intend on doing it, but the opportunity's there. I'm going to try it. Why not?
I mean,
Exactly.
think about it. No one thought Whatnot was going to be what Whatnot is,
Yeah.
So the game's always changing. You got to be ready to pivot.
Inside Out Triangle Kitchen said, I've sold on eBay for a few years now. I really need advice or tips for selling on Mercari. I've only sold one thing in 3 months. Does anybody have any Mercari tips for them?
I mean, I have never been a successful Mercari seller. I will say that. I have about 2,400 listings on eBay, and about 2,000 of those are on Mercari. And my, I feel like, I cross post. I use List Perfectly to cross post. And every time I'm like, I'm just going to give up Mercari because it's not worth it. I do the math of like the actual time it takes me to cross post it and how much I'm making per hour by cross posting and actually selling things on there. And it always maths out just enough to make me stay. So honestly, I couldn't tell you anything that's going to help you.
Why don't you put us in the chat
You're
too?
welcome.
What you're actually selling, what category you're selling, so we have a better
I'm
understanding.
selling like t-shirts, men's t-shirts.
He's talking
Oh,
about
sorry.
the
yeah.
person who posed the question, not you. I've been on Mercari for about 3 years, and what I will say is similar to Katy, I've decided to give it up more than once. I have about 4,000 items on there, and because of what I sell, it's pretty niched. I'd maybe sell $5,000 or $6,000 a year there. So again, it makes it just enough that it's worth me hanging on to it because of the effort. I will say one of the best things that you can and probably should do is get one of the bots for Mercari, because Mercari, your listings, when they're stale, and they're stale within a few weeks. So nobody's seeing your crap. So the bots refresh your listing every 30 days. And if you have enough sales that justify that expense, for me, that makes it worth it. I have a specific bot that I use that does it for 3
It helps
platforms.
a tiny bit. It helps a tiny bit.
It helps more than a tiny bit. You've only been using it for a few months. Let me just say. It's honestly, it's either that or you need to end and relist things all the time, because their algorithm is such that stuff is just dead after a couple of months. It's not seen.
So Vikki stole my thunder, because I was going to say that I paid my VA, I think it was in April, to, I wasn't using Mercari, but, I have List Perfectly. And so I paid my VA to cross post about 700 items, and they were curated, certain items above a certain price point. I've sold a handful of things. But what I wanted to do was leave it on Mercari for about 60 to 90 days and then use a bot. Because in listing parties, we have these conversations in chat, everybody that's successful on Mercari that I know was using, and it's just called Mercari Bot. And the thing is that, and I think this is why I haven't done it. It does, if you use a bot to automatically end and delist and relist your items, it messes up it takes your list perfectly catalog out of sync for Mercari. And in talking to people, I decided that I would give it a try, and I just haven't done it yet. So it's on my list of things to do, but
Well, then it looks like List Perfectly just needs to build all the bots themselves.
Seriously. That's my only thing, because I like
beautiful.
Theresa. I use, and someone mentioned in the chat, I use One Shop. That's what I use. I only
That's
use
what
it.
I use too.
I
love
only use it as a bot. I don't think it's whatever. They're trying to do a lot of things, but I think the one thing that they do and do well is the bot thing. So I use that for my platforms.
Yeah, I was using One Shop when it first came out. I loved it for Poshmark. I was getting a lot of sales. And then they started being the jack of all trades, and my sales tanked on Poshmark. And it was expensive. It's an expensive bot to use. And so I think I shut it off in February, and I haven't done any kind of bot on Poshmark. And my Poshmark sales were never great, but I haven't seen a huge decline since I quit using a bot. Now, I don't think that that's good. I think you absolutely need a bot for Poshmark and Mercari. I just haven't gotten back into it because I haven't figured out which one I want to use.
You just still have to feed the beast. I mean, you have to still list.
I'm paying $45 a month. It's $45 a month, but it's doing Mercari. It's ending and relisting everything on Mercari after 30 days. It does by Poshmark, so it shares, it follows, it sends offers to people who have liked my items, and then it also refreshes listings on Depop. So it's helping me with 3 different platforms. So if I split it up between those 3 platforms, I'm basically spending $15 a month to help my sales.
It'll refresh Poshmark stale listings too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is what
I think for me, I just want to try the Mercari bot one, just because all the people that I've talked about, that's the one they use. So, and then if it doesn't work, I'll try something else.
Anytime anyone always asks me about should they sell Mercari, the only thing I'll tell you is they finally walked into 2010 this year and was able to use a thermal printer to actually print off your labels. Okay. In 2023, they finally figured out a way to use a thermal printer to print your labels. So
I'm going to say that we may. Yeah.
Do you know how that happened? Because Mercari was a sponsor at Reseller Remix last year, the very first in-person seller event they've ever been to. And there were 2 things. I don't know what the other, but the first one, like, they wanted to put a sign. Yes, we heard you. We will print on 4x6 labels. Do you guys remember what the second one was?
I don't remember.
That the sellers really
I don't remember, but that was their biggest takeaway and take back, and they heard it.
Well, that's awesome. So that's good.
Rod, why aren't you using Pirate Ship to print your labels?
Why am I using Pirate Ship?
Why aren't you? I don't buy my labels on Mercari.
Yeah, I did in the past and stuff like that. I mean, the buyer pays it for it. I mean, I guess I don't really sell much on Mercari. I just started cross-listing back on Mercari. I took about 2 years off because I wasn't having any sales on Mercari, just like a lot of other people. So I actually just started back up in the last 2 months. And the only thing I would say is it really comes down to the category you're selling, because I do very well with, like, saying video game stuff or action figures there. But when it comes to other things, it's dead in the water. So I think it really for Mercari it specializes in what you sell. And so it comes down to the category. If you're going to get more sales or not. I sold shoes on there too, but other than that, those are the 3 categories, the only things I've really sold.
Listen, Scott. So Scott said he's never selling on Mercari because I said not to. And I did take it back. I did go back to Mercari.
I mean, they did do you dirty. So, I mean.
They did. But then they apologized, gave me my money back, and then Facebook did me dirty. So I had to make up with Mercari because I needed a 3rd platform. Like, that's just
it's like one abusive relationship to another.
I did. I just, I will tell you, our Mercari sales have actually been great because we've been cross-posting all our friggin' license plates that got me kicked off of Facebook. Mercari people love them. So I think it really, really depends on what you sell, because we've been putting a lot of license plates. Like, we had 6 go out on Mercari and like only 4 on eBay today. So Mercari actually beat eBay. And it really, the one shop refresh of the listings, I think, has been giving me more sales on Mercari and Posh because it's relisting those stale listings. So I've noticed some more of that as well. And I like, as far as tips ending and reposting, I think they're dead after like 3 days. I feel like if those suckers don't sell after 3 days, they're gone. But see, it's so new to me. The Mercari's like limiting listings like eBay does now, which they never did back in the, like when they first started. But yeah,
No, I've been
see,
on there for, like,
Fabulous
4 years.
Flamingo said they're like, if you have license plates, get them on Mercari right now. They are selling like hotcakes. It is
I saw mine on
crazy.
eBay. How much do you sell them for on Mercari?
The average is about $15, but I have license plates from 10 up to like $150.
Yeah, mine are just normal, like taking them off my old cars when I've bought personalized. But I list them for $25 on eBay, and they usually sell pretty quickly. I've only listed them ever on
I bought
eBay.
an antique dealer out, and I bought over 1,100 license plates, which we like are way in the profit, but we still have hundreds and hundreds of them. And as we're getting them up on Mercari, they're selling at, and I buy them now because I saw how good they sell. So I actually buy them a lot. Oh, there's Scott's question again. For Katy and Vikki, is that an original Patrick Nagel poster on the wall behind you?
It's not an original.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Actually,
Oh, I'm very sorry.
it's not a poster. It's a print from an art, it's some type of dealer in the 80s. It is an original. It was in a really bad frame, and
It's like glued down to the.
it's glued to the poster board in the back. So yeah, it is an original. I have not reframed it. I actually just have it leaning in the corner. But yeah, I bought it at a garage sale for $1. There were like 8 of them. I sold the rest of them. This one I kept.
Have to keep one.
See what Hustlebee said? He still jarred some Mercari. If you guys don't know what those are, look them up.
You're going to prison.
There's a reason they're banned. So
Ren wants to know, why does eBay want me to leave feedback for buyers who never paid? When I look at the options to report, there's nothing that fits as to buyer did not pay.
Well, because you don't report a buyer for not paying. You cancel the item and you say the reason is that they didn't pay. So it's not something that you go report. You're already reporting it in a sense when you do that. As far as feedback goes, I don't know what you're asking there. I've never been asked to leave feedback for a buyer who hasn't paid. So I think
it just makes you for like every transaction. Like I've had buyers cancel on me and then they can still leave feedback on me, which is a pain in the butt.
I do auto feedback. The second somebody pays, I leave them feedback, or it's set up that way. But I've canceled orders where they didn't pay, and I've never had a prompt where I was told to leave feedback.
Yeah. I don't worry about that stuff. I mean, if somebody doesn't pay, I just move on. I don't get wrapped around the axle about people that don't leave feedback or leave negative or leave me the feedback system at eBay is a legacy system. And they just, in my opinion, this is just my feeling, they just keep it around because it's been around forever. But if somebody gets a lot of negative feedbacks, eBay takes them down. So you giving them, one negative here and one negative there, I get one negative, I'm not going to worry about it. But I know that people are very passionate about their feedback, and I understand and appreciate it. I'm just not one of those people.
Well, I think the biggest reason why people are passionate, because if you fall under below 98% now, they can ding you or charge you an upcharge for categories and stuff like that. So, if you're a newer seller who has minimum feedback, 1 or 2 can really put a big percentage on there for that.
Right.
Now, to her question though, she's right. Is if you do cancel it, you actually have to put the cancel, and then the reason why is the buyer didn't pay. Back in the day, you used to be able to report the buyer. So if you're used to that,
you can still give negative feedback back in the day too.
Yeah,
those were the beautiful days.
Yeah, you can get
It was the
negative feedback.
wild west. People would leave negative feedback for people they didn't even buy anything from. It was god awful, but it was. It worked both ways.
It
but
gave
was
me
good and
some
bad.
satisfaction a few times.
Yeah.
Same.
Your auction
Same.
would end. You would already have negative feedback, and you're like, "What is going on?" Like it ended 10 seconds ago. So, yeah, that was a Wild West, though.
There were some like really demanding and like over the top buyers that I would never sell to again. And I told the world about them back in the 90s, because I was in my 20s and I was hot-headed. But I'm still a little hot-headed. I don't look because I do what Katy does. I have the auto feedback. So I never go in my like leave feedbacks for section. So I don't even look at it. I would recommend turning on the auto because you can't leave negative feedback for a buyer. Like that way you can pick 4 little sayings. It alternates them. It leaves them feedback soon as they pay. You don't have to worry about it. And that is that. Goodbye, 365 Vintage Hunter. I don't know if you left already, but thank you so much. She sent a $10 super chat. I'm going to give her a Dalton Dolphin. We went today, me and Dalton went today. I will show you guys them in a video coming up. We went and picked up 2 baby turkeys today. We are adding 2 turkeys to our flock of what we have. So we picked up, they're about tall, 2 turkeys. We are not going to eat the turkeys. They are pet turkeys. I have never eaten an animal I've raised ever. Our chickens, turkeys, nothing. Can't do it. Oh, I lied. I ate one of my quail one time. I lied. But they're not like personable. They're just little birds. Jess said they're just not personable like chickens, and turkeys are like super personable and really friendly. If you've never had a turkey is like 10 times more personable than a chicken. We have 11 acres. Okay. I can have 2 turkeys. Okay.
Let's go to the question. You're talking
along with 250 axolotls. If you want an axolotl and you're not in a state where they're illegal, I have 250 of them. Jess sent a $10 super chat and said, when photographing clothing, do you prefer to use mannequin, flat lay, or hanger on the wall? And why do you prefer that method? I currently use flat lay.
Well, Vikki prefers to pay somebody else to do all of her clothing photography. So that's her way of handling it.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer, so not quite any of those answers. I actually use, I'm going to go grab it right now and then you'll know exactly what it is. It's right here.
I do a little bit of both. It depends on what I don't do flat lay. I always use either a half mannequin or a full mannequin for my clothing. I think the 3-dimensional looks better, but I'm also selling a lot of vintage clothing, vintage women's clothing, and dresses and skirts do not look right as in a flat lay. They just don't. And so for what I sell to get the higher prices, I need it to be 3-dimensional.
So I do men's clothing and I use this hollow kind of half manny. And he hangs on the wall. And so I actually just have a hook that's basically just installed on the wall. And so I hang it there and it makes it really easy since I just do like mostly t-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, stuff like that. It's really easy to put the clothing on it and off it and it looks really good. And then I use photo room to take all the backgrounds out. So my pictures look freaking amazing, I think. When I do pants or anything like coveralls or anything like that, those I just do flat lay on the ground. I hate doing them, but I usually don't have a ton of them, so it doesn't take me too long. And again, because I have background remover, it's like I can literally have cords, I can have all kinds of stuff around it, and I really just need enough room to lay the stuff on the ground and I can do it.
I do flat lay for shirts and pants and anything except for dresses, skirts, and jackets. And when I say I mean my minion, which I affectionately call my minion, but my VA, she does all my photographs for me, and yeah, most of them are flat lay. It's faster, it's easier.
She's not really a VA if she's an in-person. She's not virtual.
You're right. She's my assistant. You're right.
No,
How do you do that?
Call her an RA, a real assistant.
There you go.
So I just call them my minions, but sometimes, I mean, it's an affectionate term that I've used for years. So she's here. So she does my photo. She's in the middle of, she's finishing up doing a physical inventory, which has been amazing, but she takes pictures. And then I have a real VA that lives in Indiana that does my listing for me. And I don't know what I do all day.
So for me,
Zooms.
I started out doing flat lay, but then after like 5 or 10 items, my back was hurting, just bending over and doing that. So then I went out and bought a mannequin, and then I hated the mannequin because it just didn't look right on the mannequin. So then I actually made the super hanger where you take 2 hangers, you cut them, and then you make the super hanger. So I can do that with shirts. So that looked okay on the wall, but then I broke the super hanger. And when I was moving, so now I'm back to flat laying again. So right now I currently flat lay. I don't need to do like 5 or 10 at a time if I do it. I need to make a board where I can put it on an angle so I can do flat lay on the raised surface. So that's going to be the next step in the process.
We get like a drafting table.
Yeah, like
You know what I used? I bought at Michael's. It was on sale,
Yep, that's what
like
I'm doing.
70% off. A 4 by 3 foot painter's canvas.
Yeah.
And then what I did was I put L brackets on the table so that I could lean it up against the wall on the table. And then because my minion is like 5'10", I bought bed risers and I put the table up on bed risers. That changed and then I got her a soft mat because I just felt bad for her standing there taking pictures all day. But that made all the difference in the world in her speed and production.
Yeah, Reseller Ride actually has a video about making a flat lay, if I'm not mistaken. So, if anyone wants to learn how to make one.
Yeah, I do flat lay. I mostly do men's. I don't do very many women's clothing. The scarves I do on a half mannequin, though. I do think the scarves, and that's only if I feel like it. They definitely look better on a mannequin. The scarves do, but I will, like, if I'm in a hurry, I just flat lay them. But they look much better on the mannequin. And yeah. I used to use the big Rally Roots hanger, the like wide one for my t-shirt, but now I just flat lay most of them on the ground. But I too have an off and on minion. I don't know if she would like me calling her that. My niece has started helping again. So
I took a poll and all my minions like being called minions, so I don't feel bad.
Well, that's good.
They know it's a term of endearment.
My niece would probably look at me like I lost my mind, but
Ken's got the jokes.
I know Ken is on fire today.
Mandy sent us a $5 super chat too. She was leaving and said she'll listen to the rest tomorrow. And she wanted to say thank you to all of you in the chat who gave her some places on the Panhandle to go. I'm going to give both you guys I'm going to give you the original. I haven't played the original super chat. Here you go.
Super chat.
We got 24 questions here, it looks like, and about 20 minutes left. You want to speed round it?
We can try.
All right.
All right.
Short answers.
Answer as fast as you can. Ready, set. This is not a fast answer. I think only one of us needs to answer this, though. What is promoting?
We already did this one.
We did this one.
We did. Oh, we did do that. That's the same exact one. Okay, this is an easy yes or no. Do you require immediate payment?
No. Yes and no, because if you do offers, then you can't. So
same.
I don't.
I do in all my stuff unless it's sent an offer, then the buyer doesn't have to do immediate payment.
I do not. Evangeline said, how many items do you have on eBay and what is your sell-through rate?
2,400, no idea / real bad because it's not, I mean, it's like what, 1% maybe like vintage stuff. So
I have 4,800 items on eBay and my sell-through rate, again, because I sell primarily vintage and vintage is long tail, you don't really look at sell-through rate for what the type of things that I sell. But I will say overall, year to year, my sell-through rate is 75 to 80% within a 12-month period. That's what I look at, is yearly, not daily or monthly, because of the type of things that I sell.
Yep.
I have about 5,700 items on eBay, and my sell-through rate is 5.62734. I have no idea. It's less than 10%.
I was like, man, you are the numbers geek. How do you know?
Right?
You just got to say it with confidence, and you can believe. I started laughing too soon.
With conviction.
Fake it till you make it. So I have about 1,300 items on eBay. I've sold about 500 or 600 in the last 90 days. But I would say my sell-through rate is always going to change because my business pivots and changes throughout the process. So right now I'm trying to get rid of all my cheap items in my store and just go more higher end stuff. So that's going to increase as I go through.
I have 5,750 on eBay, and my sell-through rate is about 11%. Pretty low because of doing those one-off rare items and listing all the extras in the lots, which I am trying to stop doing and improve it, but mine is low. All right, what'd you click on?
No, go ahead. It's nothing. It's just Scott.
You
It doesn't
told me to
matter.
go fast, and now you're clicking
Go
on
fast.
things.
Go fast.
You guys already
Okay,
answered
I'm
the GoPro question.
We answered the GoPro question already.
Yeah, we did that one earlier.
I need to increase my sales, but I'm struggling between the options of doubling my store with a lot of $10 to $15 profit, or list 10 per day with 20 profit. What is your preference on the two?
I mean, it depends on how you want to work. If you're rather do high volume, then do high volume. But I think consistency is the biggest thing. You want to be listing more than you're selling.
Same. I actually don't sell anything with just a $10 to $15 profit personally. My average sale price is $60, and my profit on that is going to be around $45 to $50. So, you want to work yourself up to be able to work smarter, not harder. But there are plenty of people that are high volume sellers with lower profits and lower dollar amounts. It really depends on how much time you have and resources you have to put into listing and shipping.
Theresa?
Teresa?
Hey.
Oh,
And skits.
I was reading the question. We're supposed to do fast. One person a question. Like, I don't have anything else to add to it. Like, let's go. Come on, people.
Okay. Well,
Are you talking
I'll
to yourself
say
here?
you want to. Everyone's goal is to get a higher sell-through rate, and you want to make more money. So I would say 20 plus. That's where you want to go to. You eventually get there. Just make sure you're selling items that have a higher sell-through rate, but you want to move to the 20 plus profit margin because you want to keep increasing it as you go.
I think it depends on what you can find. I have spent the last 3 years doing tons of $5, $10, $15 profit and making over $100,000 a year. 2 of those years by myself, and it was completely doable without like crazy working because that's what I was finding in lots. However, I am now switching to doing less items for more money. So I think it depends on a lot of it too, what you can find, the money you want to spend. I will spend $500 plus on one item now. I never would have dreamed I would be doing that 3 years ago, but I will now. So I think it really depends on you and what you want to do. Now, the license plates are a lot of $10 to $15, but that's a front and back photo. There's no measuring. License plates are all the same size. So those I can pop through 50 listings in a day, easy, making 10 a day. And I've got, $500 plus in profit. But I'm trying to get away from it.
There's no one way to be successful in this business, and anyone that tells you that their way is the only way is full of crap.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can
On a side
change.
note, Ken, your comment made me laugh real hard.
What did he say? Now I have to see.
Depends on if you want to keep selling on eBay.
Hey. One adult reselling income, rent, food, bills, transportation essentials. How do you know whether or not you'll make enough to cover that cost plus have some remaining?
I mean, I guess that's assuming you're trying to plan it before jumping into being a full-time reseller. I know for me, like I said earlier, I just had to do it. So you don't know until you're doing it. And I had to do that by trial and error. And luckily I was able to pull it off after 8 months of being full-time reselling.
It depends on what your expenses are. You could be someone like Kevin, the Commonwealth picker, that has a very low mortgage and cost of living where he lives. He talks about it frequently. So he doesn't need to sell to earn quite as much as somebody that lives in where we live or lives in LA or needs to, our rent's $3,500 a month. Everybody's very different. So you've got to figure out what your budget is and work backwards from there. Whatever your budget is, this is how much you need to net or profit every single month. And you need to figure out what your average price is for sales and what your fees are and the cost and overhead for that. It's a backwards formula that you have to work from, and everyone's is going to be different.
Yeah, like I said in the beginning, I went full-time unexpectedly, and 5 months into it, I didn't have any savings. I had to go back to my job. So I would say you need to be able to have some savings. You need to be able to build this. And mind you, I was a part-time seller for 15, 16, 17 years. So I had 500 or 600 items in my store. So I had to really take some time to build it up to have some money and some steady income. So, and then, again, I got rid of my big dream house because it was ridiculously expensive for me to live in that house as one person. So, it was sad the day I pulled away, but I have no regrets.
So I usually, and no offense when I say this, when it comes to anyone that asks this question, but if you're asking that question, you're not ready to make that step yet, because you would know already if you have enough income. Best thing to do is have a separate bank account. That way you can track what's going in, what's going out. And then at the end of each month, analyze what you have in your bank account compared to what you started out with. If it's increasing, is that enough increase to pay your bills plus have extra to do other stuff? If the answer is no, then you need to keep rinse and repeat and keep moving forward. Once you are hitting enough to cover your bills, maybe take the next 3, 4, 5 months to make sure that you're going to be consistent with it. And then that way you can make the jump. That's the safest way to do it. Some other people like me, I act better when my back's against the wall. I quit and I was like, I'll figure it out. And I figured it out and made it work. But I also had a successful business leading up to that point. I just needed the extra push to get me through it. So.
Yeah, and so my household is that exact household. I don't know if you guys know, my husband does not work outside the house. He has stayed home with the kids the whole time we have been married. So my income has been the sole income. And I basically paid my bills out of my reselling for several months before I quit my job. So even though I quit 10 months ahead of time, I would have liked to have a little bit more in savings. I knew I was making enough to pay the bills because I was not using my regular paycheck. I was just paying it out of reselling. And I think, again, with a one adult household, and we have 4 of us, my 21-year-old still at home because she's in nursing school. We pay her car insurance. We pay for quite a few things, and she's full-time on my payroll, plus 2 adults and Dalton as well. And we are able to support it. eBay wouldn't be supporting it right now. I'll tell you, if I didn't have Whatnot, I would not be able to support my household because eBay has tanked. But my time into eBay has also tanked. I want to give that caveat. And I had no help. My niece just started helping me list again this week. So hopefully I will see some increase on them as well. No, I cannot pay your car insurance, Rod. Listen, that's sneaky. She's sneaky. She's smart. My daughter is very, very smart. So she was paying when she got on our policy, and then she just slowly just stops giving me money. And she is paying for her own nursing school. I am not helping her, and she's not taking loans, but I pay her full-time paycheck for her work. So, I'm a reseller. Shagan wants to know, what will you guys be offering at Boss this year that you didn't offer last year? What is different?
I'd say the biggest thing is probably the fully interactive live streaming virtual ticket. We had a virtual ticket last year, but it was just access to the sessions pre-recorded after the event had happened already. This year, it's going to be fully interactive. You're going to be able to fully interact with it. Yes.
I was going to say every year is different because we have all new speakers and panels, and every year the panels and the speakers will focus on different topics. So every year is different. The session setup and the flow of the event is going to be very similar as it was in previous years, but we have every panelist and speaker is going to be speaking and teaching on a different topic. So none of the topics that we have being covered and spoken about this year have been covered previously.
What top 3 items would you recommend that are selling well for you right now, under $25, even if it's not in your niche, and where do you source them?
Are you saying under 25 to buy or to sell?
I am reading it as to sell, but I don't know.
Okay, because I don't really sell things that are under $25. So
I do.
Okay.
So one of the things that I haven't done it in a couple of years, but I'll get back into this quarter is because I'm a retail arbitrage person, and it doesn't bother me to go spend $50 on a pair of shoes, shipped a pair today that I bought for $32 and I sold them for $180 on Amazon. So that's my thing. But after Halloween and after Christmas, I make my rounds and I do clearance at Walmart and Target. And, and this is my big thing. It's like I will go buy cans of snow, and I haven't sold canned snow in a long time, so I'm telling you this. But I buy a bunch of stuff, and I hit all the Targets and Walmarts in my area. I might spend $500, but my car is full. And then I get it home. I take it home and get it listed on by the end of January. This is Christmas stuff. By the end of January, and then I just let it sit there, and it's my bread and butter stuff. But if I'm buying a can of let's see, Walmart selling a can of snow for $1.38 or $1, I forget what it is. I buy it for 38 cents. I don't sell it for $2. I sell it for $12. And how can I sell it for $12? Because when somebody wants to buy it in July, you can't go to the grocery store. You can't go to the store and buy it. And so there's a lot of people in this world that don't shop at Walmart. And so that's one of my business models is buying clearance stuff at Walmart and selling it online for 3 and 4, 5 times more than what Walmart sold it for. So yes, you can. That's not my main business, but I do have it's fun for me for whatever reason. And because I can buy multi-quantity of stuff, those are the only things that I will list that I'm buying that's going to be under $25 is if I can buy 45 of them or 20 of them and list it once and just pull it and ship it over and over and over again all year long. You're muted.
Rod, you're mute.
Rod, we can't hear you.
Your mouth is moving.
There we go. So the top 3 for me are probably going to be video games, action figures, and plush. And if you have no money starting reselling, plush is going to be key because you can get plush at thrift stores for like $1. Yard sales, you can buy it for 25 cents, 50 cents. And plush does sell really well on eBay. So if you know your plush and stuff like that, I sell it on whatnot auctions because I'll sell it for $3-4 a piece. But I'm picking up at 25 cents. But I'm doing volume of that when I do my auctions at the time. So I'll make $100, $150, for a quick 30 minutes, 40 minutes doing it. But I would say those 3 things, it's usually yard sales or cheap thrift stores with plush.
For me, license plates, hats, and Harley pins, all of them bought on high bid auctions in lots. So the Harley pins, I got 600 of them for under $600. License plates under $1 a piece, and I've been getting vintage hats for under $1 a piece too and selling. Some of them now are $60, $70, $100, but there are quite a few in that $20, $25 range. Lucas wants to know, do you use both promoted and best offer on the same item?
Yes, I price my stuff really high to allow a lot of room for that. Plus, with sourcing at the bins, I mean, if I'm paying $1 for something and I priced it at 50, there's plenty of room for doing both of those.
Same as Katy. Yes.
Yep.
Cross board.
Yep. What if we haven't changed all our first class to ground advantage? Does anybody know what is going to happen?
I don't know. My question would be, why haven't you changed all your first class to ground advantage?
Bulk edit, make the change. I think
Bulk edit or use business policies.
Yeah, I think eBay kind of defaulted because I did some, but I don't think I did all of them.
Only for a month. So eBay only defaulted for a month. I read an article on there and they said they can't totally get rid of first class because first class is still an option for cards. Right. So they can't just switch it all because then they would be switching the people with cards to ground advantage. So you do have to switch it yourself. Yeah. I just did bulk edit and 6,000 items was just 3 bulk edits and switched everything to ground advantage.
I have business policies.
Business policies took literally 10 seconds.
So I would say I'm actually ending my listings and relisting without it. Just the fact is there are stuff that's been up for months already. So I'm killing 2 birds, 1 stone and getting fresh listings. And it's definitely helping me out with mine, but it's taking longer. But I'm doing it every day, just doing little by little.
Gotta Have It Antique says, I'm from Seattle, a vintage antique seller, newly registered on eBay, but haven't posted items. What type of items do you recommend to post first? They have mid-century modern pottery, art glass, and jewelry.
I would recommend starting out with some kind of lower cost, lower valued items because nothing looks more suspicious than a brand new seller who's suddenly selling really highly collectible, high price items. And they'll shut you down fast.
I'm going to echo on what Katy says. I think you need to get your feet wet by selling things you have around your house first. That is always my suggestion to learn. If you've not sold on the platform before, you should be selling lower cost items that you don't have a lot of money invested in, because you are a target. I don't like to use the word scammer, but when a brand new seller is a target for scammers. And if you don't know how to navigate the platform and the pitfalls and things like that, and you don't really know how to ship well yet, you really should be starting with things that you don't have a lot of money invested in, because if you get screwed once, you're going to be really upset and it's going to turn you off of the platform. So if you sell 15, 20, 30 items from around your house first, you're going to get the hang of things. You're going to figure out how to ship. You're going to figure out how to list. You're going to figure out all those kinds of things. Once you've figured that part out, then I would say in general, as a vintage seller myself, I think the hottest thing that you're talking about there would be anything mid-century modern. And that would be the category you'd want to sell first once you get your feet wet.
And you don't want eBay to suspend your account, because once they do it, you're out of luck.
Yep. Ditto.
So I would go completely different route. I said, even before you start selling, go online and buy about 10 different things from 10 different sellers. Buy sports cards, pens, stickers, anything for like 99 cents a buck, because wait till you get about feedback about 10 or higher before you start selling on there, because you'll avoid a lot of those scammers. I mean, you still get them, but people are going to feel more confident buying something that has a 0 feedback to someone that has a 10 feedback, or double digits.
Yeah, so I would recommend looking at the sell-through rate in any of those categories, because there's going to be fast selling and slow selling in all of those categories. So find items that are more popular, named pieces that you can see how many are listed, how many are sold, and I would list the faster sell-through rates first. So more sold, less listed. Do you suggest background music for sourcing and live shows? I remember someone saying we cannot use popular music, but I still hear it on several shows. I don't want to get in trouble for using it.
I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about Whatnot. I would follow the rules, and the rules now are it needs to be like music that you have licensed to you. So using something that's license free or whatever, you don't want to get in trouble. So either don't use music at all, or use whatever there is that I don't know where you can get it from. But
I personally find music distracting both as a seller and as a viewer, so I don't use it and don't like it being used. That's my personal opinion, and I think you're going to get a 50-50 answer on that from everyone.
Don't sell live.
I would say for sourcing,
I would be broke if I did not sell live. I would be like living in a tent.
So if you're talking about sourcing, you must be filming for YouTube or something else. You know, you have to use copy. I mean, you can't use copyrighted music in your thing. You're going to get flagged or demonetized, so you won't be able to make any money off your videos or stuff like that. But you can literally pay for music that has no copyrights, so you can actually use it, a royalty-free music on that. On Whatnot, a lot of people just play Pandora and stuff like that, because Whatnot's a Wild West right now. Whatnot is what eBay was in the late 90s. So until they start cracking down on it, people are going to keep doing it. But I mean, if you're not streaming to other platforms, then you probably just got a slap in the wrist with it. But that's up to your discretion.
In the Whatnot for Resellers group on Facebook, people have been suspended for using copyright music on Whatnot. That being said, I am with Vikki 110%. I hate hearing music when I am buying or selling. If you have music blaring, I'm probably closing out immediately. It's super distracting, and I have never played music on mine just because it's like too much going on. I want you to hear me talking about the item, and not like all this. It's just too much stimulation for me. I can't stand music being played in streams either. Have you ever had someone steal your photo and route your potential customers to their site? I don't know what to do. So she posted in the chat earlier, it's not somebody like taking her eBay photo and putting it on an eBay listing. They took her eBay photo and put it on a different site.
I mean, I don't understand how they're routing potential customers other than, so I don't know. But yes, I have. I've had people take photos of mine from probably eBay or Etsy, and they had a Depop page that basically, a Depop store that was basically items from all kinds of different sellers. And honestly, I didn't really care, because I was like, well, clearly they're buying the items from me once they sell it at a markup. And if I'm getting the price that I'm asking for, I do not care. They're not stealing my item. They're not stealing my sale. They're making my sale for me. Now I'm on Depop, and they're probably still on there with some of my stuff. I still don't care, because they got to have it priced higher than mine.
I haven't had it happen.
If you Google your something specific, I've seen it happen on other sites. And when it first happened, I get your thing. It's like alarming. And then you kind of figure out what's happening, which is exactly what Katy's saying. And it's like, okay, so if they're going to sell my item on somebody else's platform, they're clearly going to then come buy from my store or however they're doing it. I don't care. Buy my stuff.
I think it's like the people that drop ship on Walmart. They're selling Walmart stuff, but they're selling it themselves at a
They
higher
do it on
markup.
Amazon too, I think, fulfilled by seller.
And Posh too, if you buy something to someone, you can repurpose their photos back into your own listing.
Yeah, I don't really care. Use my photos.
Yeah, I don't care either.
Yeah, I don't care either. All right, Theresa, these are all for you, my friend. Number one, someone at FlipCon told me you think it's better not to fill in too many item specifics. Can you explain?
Okay, so not that it's better. I'm all about speed, and I do this when I list. We were talking about the item specifics. eBay, and I know this for a fact, eBay pulls the eBay's AI, looks at the title, and uses that to automatically fill in the item specifics. If you have a good, strong title, because I can cross post from my List Perfectly catalog to eBay in 3 to 5 clicks. And sometimes 2 of those is because I changed my store category. So what I'm saying is that eBay will fill in the required. Sometimes there's one that it doesn't catch and I click on that. For the recommended, I never use the down arrow. eBay's AI will give me suggestions underneath the box. I quickly scan those and see what will fit, what applies to my listing. If it's short sleeve, if it's round collar, whatever it is, I click those and boom, 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 down to listing policies and launch it. I can get an eBay listing done when I cross post List Perfectly into eBay very, very fast because of that.
Okay, part 2. She also said you have a chart instead of doing calculated or free shipping. Can you explain that?
So,
is that business policies?
Yeah, but I do flat rate shipping, and this comes up. I do for List Perfectly, I do a weekly listing 101. This comes up all the time, so much so that I have now booked a listing party once a month for how to do eBay shipping. Not how the only way, not the right way or the wrong way, the way I do it. And because I am a believer that calculated shipping, it screws you up because it calculates your shipping at full retail. And so if you're on the East Coast, unless you're down the middle of the country, you're not going to get sales for those people on the other side of the coast. So I'm not a fan of calculated shipping unless it's a large, heavy item. But a lot of people that are Poshmark sellers that have never had to think about shipping come to eBay and they don't know what to do, so they just do calculated. Not a fan of that. So I just have anything that's under a pound is $6.99. 1 to 2 pounds is $13. 2 to 3 pounds is $16, and I just go from there. And then I base my international sales on that. It's come to listing party. Although you have to be a List Perfectly subscriber to do that. So I don't know if you are, but I am doing these once a month now because it is confusing. And I do work with a lot of the Poshmark and Mercari sellers that are trying to get to eBay through List Perfectly. So so that's why I just decided it was better.
All right, guys, we're out of time. Brenda, you email bossresellerremix@gmail.com. I typed it in the chat. That was a while ago, but bossresellerremix@gmail.com. If
and
you
not
email
Scott,
me,
I'm on to you, Scott. I saw your comments in the chat. I would know.
All right. We're going to close it out with a $10 super chat. My flipping banker said, thanks for the wisdom. Tuesday night is my favorite educational block time. I love this community. Thank you so much. I haven't done the beach dolphin tonight. We'll do the beach dolphin, and then I will let everybody tell you goodbye and what they've got coming up. And then I'll tell you who's coming on next week. Here is your dolphin. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Let's go ahead and make Miss Katy and Vikki big, and they can tell you what they've got going on. Then Miss Theresa, and then Rod will, and then me. Here is Katy and Vikki.
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot more like pre-recorded hauls. We've been going to the bins 2-3 times a week, and we're just doing like our top 10 favorite things we got that day. So it's been really fun to kind of show people what we're getting every day when we go to the bins. The other thing we've been doing is that we have a Sunday live show, and it used to be Sunday live haul, and now we just do it to show our final numbers for the previous week and to show the sales that we had the previous week, and also to set goals. So we kind of set it up as a way for people who are watching us to join us in setting goals for the next week. And then when we come back the week after that, we kind of report back on how we did the previous week and so on.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, Katy said it all. And obviously, we're working on the Boss Reseller Remix, which is in 61 days from today. Will be the first night. And we're working on, with Theresa, working on getting all those details ironed out. All of our speakers and sponsors are up there. We're just, selling tickets and organizing the schedule and the content of the schedule and all that good stuff.
Perfect. All right, Theresa.
I don't have a YouTube channel. I don't do Instagram. I'm just going to be here. I do listing parties. I do List Perfectly 101 once a week. I am in the middle of trying to move, trying to get my house, buy a house, do all that. Like, my life is a mess right now. So that's what I'm doing. You don't want to be me right now.
You don't want to be me right now either.
Yeah, you're right. We don't.
You don't want to be me right now. Rod, what's going on?
So, and my spiel is always, any question we don't answer, find me on Facebook or Instagram. I will answer your questions. It's picking and punching. I dropped a brand new YouTube video today where someone tried to sell me some counterfeit items at a garage sale. So go check that out. And 8/23, I am going back on Whatnot and doing a massive sale on Whatnot. Actually, it's not even a sale. I'm giving everything away for free. That's right. I bought a massive Disney collection. It's been in storage for over 25 years. That video should drop either Friday or Tuesday within the next week. I'm going to put that out there, but everything in my Whatnot store will be free. So all you have to do is follow me. I'll drop the link here in the chat. And everything's going to be free for that show. I'm trying to promote a big show coming up. So go follow it. It's free.
We are going to have LL Handmade and Beyond, Rod's best friend. He is an Etsy seller, guys. He specializes in Etsy. So definitely bring your Etsy questions next week. And Flippy McPherson, who has not been on the show before, will also be on with us next week. I have a Whatnot show tomorrow with gorgeous silver-plated gemstone jewelry. Thursday is a Posh Live. It'll be my second Posh Live. I'm not really overly advertising it, but I will be there because I haven't figured it out yet. I do not think I'm going to do resin. So if you guys aren't hanging out, everybody on Whatnot knows my whole life because I'm there 5 nights a week. We have been having septic issues and it has not been a fun week. So therefore, I have not had time to make resin because I've been dealing with septic issues. So that has changed to a vintage and estate jewelry that I can let Aunt Roberta catalog for me. And
please don't get those two things, resin and septic, mixed up.
Not together. No, that would not be lovely.
Yeah, it sounds like a real crappy situation. I'm just saying.
It's a very crappy situation. And if you watch Whatnot, you would think it was fixed, but it broke again and it's a bigger issue than we thought. So no resin this week, but I will be on Whatnot tomorrow and Friday, and I will be on Posh Thursday, and I will have a new video out this Thursday as well. So thank you guys. Katy, Vikki, Theresa, thank you for coming on. All of you in the chat, thank you for coming every week. We are here every week at 8 p.m. on Tuesdays, and we will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.